Welcome to how to activate and validate additional languages in Taleo Enterprise. So today we're going to be talking about how to go about activating additional languages in Taleo. It is very important that you understand that when you activate a language, it cannot be removed. So it's best to test it out in staging first. And then once you have validated and tested, you can kind of move forward and request that to kind of be activated in production as well. When you activate a language, there will be a downtime. The zone has to go through a zone restart, and for the most part that's done in your maintenance hour. So in order to activate a language, you will need to log a ticket with Oracle, and you need to provide the exact zone name. You can provide they will ask for preferred date of completion. The next part that they're going to be requesting is what type of language activation do you want. So you have a choice. You can do a backend, which is basically everything. It's configurations in recruiting and onboarding, it's career section. The other choice that you have is front end. So it would be career sections. So anything that a candidate would be seeing potentially would need to be translated. So when you're requesting, there are choices as well in terms of language suffix. So you can have an FR, for example, if you're activating French, you can have the suffix on your fields and the elements that are created specifically by you. The other option that you can kind of have is not having the suffix and just kind of have it to be not translated. So that's a choice that you'll have to make. You'll need to provide your contact information. And that's about it in terms of the ticket from that perspective. In terms of the validating after the language is activated in your zone, I'm going to kind of show you a couple of different tips that can kind of help you. The one thing that I would say is don't forget some of your settings. So for example, if you are using an upload resume, so resume parsing, that's a setting. And when you activate an additional language, you got to make sure that you're activating that language in the resume parsing as well. So first thing I'm going to show you, I'm on Oracle support. You can see on my screen. And these are all of the available languages that are there. So what I do, anything that is standard, a standard field functionality, that is all already translated. As soon as you activate the language, it's there. One of the things that you'll notice, and it's a good way to kind of check things out, is once you have a language activated, you'll have a drop down that you can kind of select. So I'm going to select my French, and I'm going to do my sign in. And you can see that there are some of the sections here that are translated. There are some labeling because it's the name of the tool that will not translate. So I'm going to go to recruiting here. So you can see I'm walking through even if you don't understand the language, the components of it are in the same place. So offers is still here. So you may have another screen in English and just kind of go through to see it. From the first perspective, I'm going to go to configuration. I'm going to kind of highlight some of the things that have to be translated right off the bat. Your smart org, So your OLF, if your organization is not posted in your career section, you may choose to just kind of leave it. However, it is definitely best practice to translate your locations and your job functions. So when I go in, you can see here, my default is English, but if I change my view to French, I can see right away that I've got Germany that's been translated, but United States is still in English. So this is a good overview for you to be able to kind of understand all of the different places. And locations will be posted. They'll be viewable to candidates and also hiring managers or whoever is creating requisitions in that language. Same thing for job function. I can change my view to the language, and then I can kind of do a quick review from this perspective. So that's your OLF. If I do the same thing in terms of reviewing, I'm going to go into recruiting administration and see all of my main sections of within that component. And I'm going to be focusing on fields as soon as the screen fills or populates. And I'm going to start with candidates. Same thing. The flow of the sections within each area are still the same. And you can see here, so these are my standard fields. These are already translated. This is from the system. If you disagree with the translation, then you will need to log a ticket, get the resource ID number, and log a ticket for a text tool change with Oracle. So I'm going to click my user-defined fields. And here's an example that I chose not to use a suffix, and I can still see some of my fields that have the not translated. So if I need to go in and I'm going to edit. So I can do my translation and then remove that. And gonna save. So I know it's still in English, but it's just to be able to show you that you can just go in and edit it. When you've logged in with the language, it will show from that perspective. I would do this for every one of my fields. So my candidate fields, my offer, my requisitions field. When you're thinking about if you have both, the back end, like everything, back end and front end, you also want to go through and do updates on your CSWs. So your CSW steps and statuses may need. It's a good idea. So at Acuity, this is something that we help clients out. And we have a notebook, like we have a notebook in terms of being able to kind of make sure that we hit all of the potential areas of modules that will need translation. Another way from, I know that this can seem a little bit overwhelming, but one of the ways that you can also do it, just to be able to kind of highlight exactly what is being used currently. So you may have fields that you've created that are no longer being used. So if you do a walkthrough in the language that gives you a good idea. So I would say you start from the beginning and you do create a requisition. So again, anything that is standard with Taleo will already be translated, and you can just go screen by screen and be able to identify this way. So if I go to my job templates, anything that has the globe is translated. And then you can see if it's not translated, it'll just either have English and it's potentially another language if you had, that it would just be that as well. So if I select one that is already translated, and I move forward. So as soon as I get my requisition form, my file, then I can go to each section. So what you want to make sure is not just looking at the label, but if there is fields that has values or drop downs, then you want to make sure that you're checking your values as well. So if I go, and then again, you've got your, if you've got content, my template came in from this perspective. If it is a bilingual one, I can change my languages here. And then this should show me the translated value if I updated it. If I need it to deactivate, so if I have a job template that didn't need, or if I'm posting a description that doesn't need the Spanish, then I can update that to only be the 2 languages that I need. So this is a good way. Just kind of do your walkthrough. And then I'm just going to cancel this out. And I'm going to go to candidates. So I can see here, I'm on my candidate list, so I can take a look at my CSW. Has that been updated? And the other way, from a candidate's perspective, I can put everything in edit mode, and I can do the same exercise. I can kind of go through. So here I can say, oh, okay, these are labels that I need to kind of go and get updated in configuration to be French. So it's a good way. Put it in edit mode. Don't forget to kind of check your values drop down. And then I would do the same thing in offer. So remember, you're doing all of this testing in staging and you're documenting it, so then you won't have to kind of go through this again when you do it in production. So those are some tips in terms of how to activate languages and also how to validate and the different sections that you would need to kind of make sure you update in configurations. Thank you.